What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
And today's video, Stranger Things Season 4 is out, and it is causing a splash. Is it fair to say it's causing a splash? Yes, the other seasons, Season 1, 2, and 3, have been like big deals, but I've seen a couple things on Season 4 in particular, a couple Christians like posting, and it seems to be making some waves. It's got some people, shall we say, concerned. And so Morgan and I, literally an hour and a half ago, we put it on our screen. We watched the first episode. It was like an hour and 15 minutes. And now we're here to share our thoughts. It's fresh, baby. It's fresh. It's fresh. We got some stuff to say.
Paul might just be holding me while I cry, but
don't give it away yet.
Just kidding. All right, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We're giving commentary on culture, social issues, and faith to help you be in the world,
but of the word. Amen. And big shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys for supporting what we do on this channel. We don't get many brand deals because of the content and subject matter we make. So you guys help us continue to do it. Thank you. If you want to become a patron, patreon.com/Paulandmorganshow. The link is below. Give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for this topic. We're excited and a little bit grieved. All right, here we go. So Morgan, we flipped it on. Like I said, we literally just watched episode 1 today. I was not planning on watching season 4. I have watched season 1, 2, and 3. After season 3 ended, I kind of said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just call it quits on Stranger Things.
I watched season 1 and 2, and then Paul and our friend Michael were watching season 3, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't watch it with them, but anywho, I didn't. And then when I was about to start season 3, Paul was like, honestly, I would just encourage you to hold off. I was not that invested, so I was like, whatever, I just won't watch it. So I haven't seen season 3.
So neither of us were that eager. Morgan, go ahead and pull up the, this is just one of the posters, I believe, that I found when I Googled it. You can see that 11 has the longer hair going on. The youths look a little more mature, a little older going on.
All the
hairs are very bad. Very bad hairstyles.
About that. For a minute. Was hair really that bad back in the 80s? I just don't feel like it was that bad, but it's pretty bad.
So here's what I want to say as far as like, Paul and Morgan, why did you watch it? I was having a conversation with someone close to Morgan and I, a believer in Christ, yesterday, and I brought up, I said, hey, like, there's some Christians that are commenting on the new series of Stranger Things, and they are not saying good things about it. Like, they are sharing that it is rough. And so I actually pulled up, like, I don't know if it was the Parents Guide or a Christian review type thing of the show. And I would encourage all of you guys, before you watch new stuff, Morgan and I would encourage you, get used to looking up Parents Guide. Like, it really has helped us.
Yeah, who cares if people laugh at you? Who cares if people are like, seriously, you're going to look it up on the Parents Guide? What are you, 10? Like, just do it, okay?
Oh, it's great. Parents Guide is awesome.
Yeah.
But, so I was sharing with this person, I was like, I was reading the Parents Guide, and it was just saying, Stranger Things is no longer a show for kids. This new season, season 4, is, and then it just goes down the list of like really rough. Like it's made the jump. And so I'm reading this to her, and then later in the day we were in the car and I was like, so after me reading this stuff, I'm not planning on watching it. I don't know if I said that or what, but I was like, after reading these things, after what I've shared, have you decided?
Squish.
We got this giant window here now.
Yeah.
What did I say? Oh yeah, this is our first video. Hey.
Sorry, I just clapped right into the mic.
This is our first video in the new pad, and we might make a few tweaks, but as of right now, welcome. We're very happy to be here.
To our new home.
What I was saying, I said, so after what you're hearing, after what I'm reading about this show being rough, are you still planning on watching it? And she said, yep, I think I'm still going to watch it. And I was like, interesting. So then today we're thinking of a video to make. And I was like, Morgan, there's going to be plenty of Christians who watch season 4 of this show. Why don't we watch it strictly for research purposes
Okay.
and give our take on it. So we watched it, and yeah, there's kind of the reason.
We didn't watch the whole season. We watched literally the first episode.
First episode. Yeah.
And I just want to say there are definitely going to be spoilers in this.
There are, but we're gonna be careful.
I don't think I will be, so I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay, but I don't think we've only seen one episode. So like, how many
Right.
spoilers can we really give?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not like we're giving like
To
the
me,
ending.
there weren't that many spoilers.
No, I think you will be okay to watch this and not feel like things were spoiled.
The whole season was ruined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, Morgan, you want to just kind of like start rolling some thoughts that you had? I have a few notes.
Oh, where to begin? I feel like one of the main reasons I didn't watch season 3 was Paul had just shared with me that like the language, like the kids started just much more often dropping curse words, and they were like using the Lord's name in vain a lot, and they had done that I feel like minorly.
It was like,
in first and second.
We saw a chart, didn't we, of like amount
yeah.
of cursing in
And it
season
was like
1.
this much.
In season 2, jump, and then season 3 was like a huge jump.
Yeah.
And just from episode 1 of season 4, we're like, okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the first episode, it was just like, to me it's just gross. It's like these kids are what, like freshmen in high school, and I'm sure there are kids out there cursing all the time, blah blah blah, but I don't know. To me, I really hope that it's not as common as they made it look. I don't remember that being a thing. Granted, I went to a Christian private homeschool school, but like, yeah, I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable to watch like little kids cursing and taking God's name in vain, like so just flippantly.
Morgan, I actually heard Ray Comfort from Living Waters YouTube channel. He was
Yeah.
talking to someone about it, and they said, he was like, do you use the Lord's name in vain? Have you used the Lord's name in vain? And the guy was like, well, yeah, but that's just become normal in our society. And Ray Comfort said, would you be okay if people started using your mom's name as a curse word? And I was like, man, I haven't really thought of that. Like, if people started using your name or my mom's name as a curse word like they do Jesus Christ, I would not be happy. And that just hit me a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of cursing from these kids. It's tough to stomach. One thing I said about it, Morgan, as we get going into more of our review of it, first I do want to say, like, guys, this is our review. Take it. Don't feel like we're just coming down with a giant hammer, crushing and swinging away. If you hold a different perspective, maybe you've watched it and you still maintain a different perspective, fair enough. But we are probably going to bring some passion to this, to our takes on this. But one thing that I thought of immediately, or like after watching the first episode, it seems like they've taken films or taken like franchises that were kind of these gray areas that maybe Christians should have already been pumping the brakes on, but we're kind of like, you know what? It barely passed my Christian test, so I'll go ahead and watch it. They're taking these movies and now just like times 10 the amount of, like, I don't know, just
worldliness,
vulgarity, worldliness, demonic. Demonic. That's actually the one that I want to hit on the most, because it seems like there's suddenly this trend, especially with Netflix, but I'm thinking of Doctor Strange, which we haven't seen. Most of you in the chat have probably heard Doctor Strange was not like most of the other Marvel movies preceding it. It was dark, it was heavy, it was demonic, witchcraft, occult. And now it's like that just seems to be becoming more and more normal. And that seems to be the case with Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah, and just seeing Christians being like super pumped and excited to watch a show or a movie, and then they watch it and they're either like shocked because they're like, wait, what? This is way darker and way more demonic than I thought.
Sure.
Or they're just kind of like, oh yeah, it wasn't great, but it's so good, and the storyline and the actors and the plot, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, so then they're just making up excuses as to why it's okay to watch that show, when really it's like,
perhaps because they have already gotten started on the franchise, they're used to the characters. It was already kind of rough to begin with, but you know what? We watched season 1 and it was okay. I felt okay in my conscience, and suddenly now we're on season 4. Yeah.
And you're just dug into the hole and you're stuck, and you're sucked in, and they've got you on a rope, and they're holding you tight,
Holding you
and they
hostage.
won't let go.
They're holding you hostage.
And that's why you have to take the sword of the Lord and cut it.
So you're kind of actually sounding like I'm back in the Stranger Things world with swords and cutting. Well, here's what when I posted to our Instagrams, like, going live today, here's our topic. Someone messaged me, and this is a kid that like seems very much in love with the Lord. And so I was like, oh wow, this was a perspective I wasn't quite expecting. But he commented and he said, I absolutely loved Stranger Things season 4. It was very dark and disturbing, not super scary though. Vecna, I guess is how you pronounce it, is demonic, and there are some underlying themes that are wrong, but I haven't felt convicted not to watch it, so I think it's okay. With horror movies, I am absolutely convicted not to watch them, but I don't know why I'm not with this show. That's interesting. You said, but I don't know why I'm not with this show. Christians, or can't wait to hear your take on it. Interesting. So he's kind of admitting there, I don't know why I wasn't convicted on this show, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like many people would watch this and put it in the horror category. I personally absolutely would put Stranger Things season 4, maybe even season 3. I don't know, I didn't see it, but we'll talk about season 4, episode 1 in the horror. And if it's going to go, and it is definitely going to get even more dark as the episodes go on.
All the seasons do. All the seasons do.
They took it nice and slow. Well, not really, honestly. The first scene was horrendous.
The first scene was horrendous.
I hated everything about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Could that be just kind of your personal preference and the type of films you like, or
no, like, I genuinely loved Stranger Things season 1, and like, I get why people keep watching the show because they are smart, the creators of the show, and how they're doing it. It's like this thriller, keeps you on the edge of your seat. You never know what's gonna happen next.
Connected with the characters. You got that cool 80s feel, and they keep implementing cool 80s, this carnival and the shopping malls and all the riding their bikes through the neighborhoods.
Yeah, and so there's like this nostalgia. Not that any of us were born in the 80s except for this guy.
Boom! 89, baby. In the live chat right now, we got any 80s kids? Come on, let me know. Let me know.
But I just think, you know, obviously they've done a very good job with it, and that's why the show is so popular. But should it be? Here's the thing. I think that Christians, you guys, we've got to get to a place where we can watch a show, and then as soon as we see it going downhill, we're not so enamored and enraptured in it that we can't not watch it. We have to find it. No. Yes, you can. You can stop watching it. Like, you've got to get there. We have to get there. I remember being in a place where I was watching a show, and the 3rd season, I believe, it like just got super raunchy. And I was like, oh man, like it took me a bit to be like, no, like, first of all, why does this show have any hold on me or my life at all?
Good question.
It should not, and so I don't need to know what happens at the end. My life will go on. This is a dumb TV show. It's not even real. And so for people who are watching Stranger Things, who watched whatever other show out there, like, if you start recognizing and seeing, like, man, they're amping up the cursing, they're amping up the sex talk, they're amping up the homosexuality, they're amping up the demonic darkness, I'm going to stop watching this, and I'm going to move on with my life and be just fine. You need to get there.
Can I give a real quick, before
that's my challenge.
Before I hit a few other points, can I give a real quick synopsis of what appears to be the premise for season 4? Obviously, particularly with season 1. It's kind of fun to give a little bit of a premise. So first season starts out, Morgan just kind of alluded to the first season being tough. You're in this lab, and I'm just going to like...
The first season?
Or the first episode, the first scene. I'm sorry, not the first season. Yeah, correct me, because sometimes I say stuff. The first, thank you. The first scene, I'm going to really abbreviate, but you just see all of these kids murdered with blood all around them, and you're like, what has happened? So it was immediately, you're like uncomfortable. You move on, you see they're back in Hawkins, Indiana, and I'm trying to think of like
They all are in their school.
you get in the school. Yeah,
11 and Will and his mom and brother moved to California for some reason. I have no idea why. I don't know if that was in season 3 or what, but they're in California. Mike and the
they've
other.
they've jumped up to high school.
Yeah.
They're freshmen in high school. There's some tension in the friend group. You got one of the kids who's on the basketball team. He's getting more with the cool kids. Then you got the other ones that are still really into Dungeons and Dragons. You got this new character who's like the head of the Dungeons and Dragons, who's pretty creepy in his own right. They're super invested. We're all used to kind of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff now, and we're not big fans of that. But you can tell they're kind of taking this to another level in the show. And then you see this cheerleader girl, and you know some stuff's going on with her in her head, and you're kind of following that. She's seeing visions that are very creepy. The Dungeons and Dragons stuff is getting pretty dark, and then we're kind of introduced at the end of the episode to this monster that this cheerleader girl. It's popping up in her visions.
Yeah, it's like she's possessed or something. Like it's like the devil came to visit her.
Yeah.
And she can't move. She's like frozen in her body, and her eyes are like flickering all over the place.
And ultimately, it turns into a full-on demonic possession. And the end of the episode, she gets.
He says it's time to take away your suffering, and like he like crushes her skull, and then like it shows in real world.
Yeah.
She's like levitating, and like her bones start to crack, and her eyeballs pop out of her head.
I think it's harder with it being these freshmen. I think it would be a little different, but at the same time, it's not just a thriller. Season 1, and I just want to put it out there. I think I could go back and watch season 1 and feel okay in my conscience, kind of like the guy who left me the message.
Yeah.
I could feel okay about season 1 in my conscience. It was more of a thriller. Yes, there was a monster, but suddenly fast forward to season 4, we kind of saw it coming with season 3, which was pretty dark, pretty gory. Actually, I would say very, very dark and gory and graphic. And now you got this monster who looks to pretty much be like Satan. At least there's parallels. The demonic
demon of some kind.
The manifestation and the gore and these kids dying. And I'm sitting here now watching this like, what am I watching? Am I really going to sit here and continue watching episode after episode and put my eyes through this, put my mind through this, put my heart through this, put my emotions through this? Again, I know that we kind of land in different places, but to me, this goes beyond a thriller, beyond kind of a scary movie that gives you chills, to pretty full-on
horror,
dark. And you guys can push back in the comments. I welcome it. I welcome pushback, but to me, dark, like, how could you not watch episode 1 and say this is a horror, dark, demonic show?
Yeah. To me, season 1, I put in the category of thriller because it's like, yes, there's like this weird alien beast. It's like sci-fi, fantastical thriller. You're on the edge of your seat, blah, 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 but nothing too intense or insane happens. But then like season 4, episode 1, it's just like, first of all, we're starting out with the monster didn't kill all these people. Apparently, well, whatever.
Yeah, we don't want to get into
one of the kids in the like scientist foundation research lab or whatever killed all of these other kids and adults, and like it's just messed up. This little kid is over here killing them with their powers or whatever, and like it's just
it's hard to understand how we as believers can, for me, this is just my personal take, can really justify that. I could justify season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Season 4, I just don't know. I don't know how, and I think it sounds cliche, but let's ask ourselves the question. I'm challenging you guys. Jesus, if he was sitting here in the flesh, would he be down to watch this show with us? Because ultimately we know the Bible says the Holy Spirit lives inside of us, that God dwells and makes his home inside of us. Are we okay? Like, would Jesus be down to sit here and watch episode after episode? from what I just saw, episode 1, I don't have a good feeling about that he would.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah, and again, I just keep going back to thinking about like why are we getting so wrapped up in TV shows, in movies, in music, in whatever, when it's very clear that these TV shows and movies and music and books don't care about your walk with God. They don't care about your righteousness. They don't care about your holiness. They don't care about the Word of God in any way, shape, or form. Yet we're still wrapped up in the next season coming out and can't wait and blah, blah, blah. And like, it's not protecting our hearts, it's not protecting our spirit, and it's very much just be going with the flow of the world and what they're excited about and what the world is talking about, and you want to be in on the know, and I get it, but also I'm just like, I don't know. We talked to a friend recently, and like we had just met this girl, and we're getting to know her. And
And real quick, Morgan, I just want to say, I'm going to look at some of your all's live, because I see some of you guys are making a case for here's why I'm okay to watch it. And I do want to get to some of those in real time. So I want to get to those as soon as you
Okay.
keep talking, keep on.
We were talking to this friend of ours, and we just asked her like, oh, what TV shows do you watch, what movies? And she was like, honestly, I know it's gonna sound weird, and everyone always thinks it's weird, but I don't really watch TV anymore, and I don't watch movies. She's like, I read books, I listen to podcasts, occasionally will watch a movie. I like the oldies, whatever. And I was just like, honestly, this shouldn't be weird. Like, because especially because of the world that we're living in now and the media that is being put out into the world, it's just so over the line, in my opinion, so often. And that stinks. It stinks that we can't indulge ourselves. But again, like, it's about, like, when you're walking with Christ, a TV show, not being able to watch a TV show or a movie should not be a big deal to us at all. At all. It shouldn't. It just shouldn't. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Okay. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying here. I've only watched 2 episodes. I'm pretty convicted not to watch more. It's demonic. Okay. I'm looking to see some of you guys who are kind of pushing back. Let's see. Because I saw there's a lot more that will be explained in later episodes, but I definitely was uncomfortable, especially before it was pieced together. The parallels to the demonic rather than sci-fi compared to season 1. So I will admit that, and someone said, well, the entity that killed all the kids at the beginning, it was actually the main bad
Which
creature.
is what I figured.
So there's going to be some piecing together, and so I could see someone being like, wow, after it was all said and done, it actually maybe like good conquered evil, or well, it looked worse than it really was. I'm just giving,
and that's
I don't want to watch anymore.
Yeah, that's a thing. There are stories out there that are good versus evil that like we're like, yeah, watch that, or we would watch that. But then there are stories or TV shows or movies out there that are good versus evil where the good does eventually win, but it's like you have to go through watching people being murdered, people's bodies being dismembered, eyeballs popping out, blood, demonic crap to get to the good winning. I don't think that that's a necessary, a good justification.
Not here for it. Sarah Ann says, I'm entertained by good versus evil, and also I see a deeper message in the show of depression and coming out of it. So I think it is fair to say, could this show have some good messages? Sure, it could have some good messages. What do we want to have to wade through to get to those good messages is my question.
I feel like a lot of people watching this show are probably struggling with depression and anxiety and fear and panic. And to me, this show only feeds into that. Okay, there's maybe a message of someone coming out of depression or out of their struggle, but like again, you're feeding your spirit for how many episodes? 5 episodes, hour-long episodes of just like heaviness, darkness, grossness. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I ain't buying it.
Peter says the Bible itself deals with demons and monsters and witchcraft. Just because a piece of media uses demons and monsters in its plot doesn't mean it's saying, hey kids, sell your soul to Satan. I would agree. But again, I desire, and I go to the Lord with this regularly, like, Lord, let me be walking humbly to be able to receive and hear your voice and not, one, harden myself and say, no, I want this so bad that I'm not going to listen to you. And two, that I just wouldn't be desensitized by the currents of culture. Man, this was rough. Let's see. I wanted to get to,
Maggie says, no. When the Bible deals with witchcraft and demons, it always says flee it. Flee it. Don't indulge in darkness.
and yeah, the Bible, specifically in the Old Testament, hits pretty hard, very hard on, the dealing with the witchcraft. So when I specifically see the occult, it's one thing if it's just like this monster that's scary. But when it starts getting into the occult stuff, I really like my radar really starts going off. So
Yeah.
a question that I wanted to ask was, the Christian who was close to me that I mentioned from my conversation yesterday, because they ultimately said, I'm still going to watch it. Even after hearing what the parents' guide said, it gave a strong warning about the show. I'm still going to watch it. And my question to Christians is, what would parents' guide, what would a friend, what would Paul and Morgan have to say to get you to say, you know what, I'm going to hold off on that show? Because we get it. Like Morgan already said, there's an appeal to Stranger Things. You really like season 1 and so forth, but it's like, what would we have to say to get you to say, you know what, I'm not even going to try. Like, I'm not even going to give it the chance.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us want to like wade into the waters and say, well, I'll see. And I'm not saying that's totally wrong. We could have, you could start a show and then stop it. But how much of a warning do you need before you just say, I'm not going to watch it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, as far as Doctor Strange and stuff, Paul looked up some videos and the parents' guide maybe, and, watched some things that maybe gave away some spoilers, but really talked about, like, what happened in the movie. And so Paul and I just made the decision of we're not going to go watch that movie after hearing people talk about it. And we shared with some friends, like, yeah, this is what we heard about it, and it just feels like it's really dark in the witchcraft stuff and the horror, blah blah blah. And we had a friend who was like, I don't know, I think this actually is what it's talking about. And they went and saw it and then called Paul and was like, yeah, I walked out halfway through. And it's like, oh, why don't you just listen?
Well, again, granted,
So funny.
we're going to have to figure this out for ourselves.
Yes, we are.
We're going to have to figure it out for ourselves. And there is grace on this process of just growth with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Morgan and I watched episode 1. We will not be watching Stranger Things season 4 beyond that point. We want to know, what are your all's thoughts? Comment, leave your comments. Have you watched it all? Did you watch one episode and then stop? Have you decided I'm not going to watch it? Did you stop watching after season 2? Like, let us know. Hopefully the conversation in the comments will be helpful to those that are maybe on the fence about it. And I'm curious to see what you have to say. We love you guys. We will see you again very soon. Have hope.
And be free. If you're in the live, we'll be right back.
As you may have noticed, we get very few brand deals, which is why our patrons, the names you see here, are so important.
You guys really are the lifeblood of this ministry. We could not do this without you all. If you believe in this content and you want to partner with us on Patreon, click the link below or just go to patreon.com/Paulandmorganshow.